Right now at 6, a new law in Oklahoma could mean residents will spend less money on groceries.
And we've got a few showers out there this morning, a few more showers and storms through the day. We'll have a look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, the Miami City Council discusses the financial future of a senior center.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Elise Snowe.
All right, Chris Warner, it's finally Friday in the 4 states. Here we are. We've made it.
Yes, another weekend is upon us.
And it's a holiday weekend.
Yes.
Some of you have a 4-day weekend. Some of you have a 3-day weekend. Some of you are like us and have no weekend. But still, regardless, it's not going to be too bad. We get the rain chances out there, which we need. And then Labor Day itself is looking pretty good. We'll talk about Labor Day here in a few more minutes. But first, we need to get you out the door on this finally Friday, especially if you do have to go to work. I know kids have school. They do not have school on Monday. It means one of the little ones will follow me here. It should be an interesting day. Right now, downtown Pittsburgh looking pretty good so far, and it is still dry out there, at least on the Pittsburgh side. Still dry in Joplin, but just off to the northwest, got a little shower that's begun to develop. Not a thunderstorm at this point, just a shower. And we'll show you that here in just a moment. MoDOT camera 20th and Range Line in Joplin also looking pretty good as well. In fact, it's a little hard to tell, but it does look like maybe there's a couple of shower drops, like little raindrops on the camera lens. So we'll take a closer look at that here in a moment. First, Skywatch Storm Tracker. Right now, there's really not much out there. We've got a few showers here around Garnett and off to the northwest of Garnett. And we've got some more heavier rain west of 75, west of Burlington out there. And then we've got this shower that's developed again northwest side of Joplin. So Carl Junction just starting to get into Webb City, stretching over to Carthage, Jasper, and south of Lamar. Nothing crazy, nothing like that. We're not expecting any kind of severe weather, but a strong storm or two may be possible a little later today. Outflow boundaries are what's triggering some of these little showers that are trying to get going. It also tried to trigger a few storms across southeast Kansas, but those died out. But now we're getting also some new showers out ahead of this line, which is interesting. They are rolling almost due north through Delaware County. On the future track, we'll have isolated to widely scattered showers and storms for the first half of our Friday. And then by the afternoon hours, say after 3, we'll start to see more scattered storms. But that's going to be the key, is they're scattered. So you see there's little gaps here and there. So it won't be raining everywhere all at once. But we'll continue with these scattered storm chances through the evening and into the overnight. Could even get some heavy rain at times with some of those storms as well. 76 in Joplin right now, 72 in Pittsburgh, and temperatures around the area are not bad. We're not where we should be yet, but we're not bad. Low mid 70s for the majority of us as we kick this Friday off. Kids getting on the bus this morning. Again, maybe an isolated shower or storm out there. Low 70s, south breeze at 5 to 10. As the front rolls through, winds will begin to shift out of the northwest, and we'll go about 90 by the time that bus brings them home. Some scattered storms across the area. 90 is going to be about our high, and we'll hit it a little earlier than usual out there just because of that frontal passage, and we'll start to cool down a bit back behind it with those scattered thunderstorm chances across the area. We're going to fall back through the 80s, and the 80s are going to stick around for quite some time. We'll talk about that in the full forecast here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. We have breaking news this morning out of Coffeyville, Kansas. The Kansas Bureau of Investigation has begun an investigation into an officer-involved shooting that happened yesterday afternoon. Coffeyville police began to conduct a traffic stop on a Ford pickup truck driven by 33-year-old Derek J. Trotter of Coffeyville, who was connected to an active investigation. Preliminary information indicates that officers tried to detain Trotter to serve a search warrant for items in his possession. Trotter began to fight back as officers tried to place handcuffs on him. During the fight, officers deployed tasers, but with no effect. One officer pulled their firearm and fired 3 rounds, striking Trotter. Officers then began to render aid, and EMS transported Trotter to the Coffeyville Regional Medical Center, where he was pronounced deceased. No law enforcement officers were injured in the shooting. The KBI will conduct a thorough and independent investigation into this officer-involved shooting. Once completed, the findings will be presented to the Montgomery County Attorney for review. This is a breaking news story, and you can watch for updates on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. And to be the first to see breaking news like this, as well as weather and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Well, people in Oklahoma will save on their grocery bills, which started yesterday. KOAM's Anthony Saviello reports on the elimination of the state's grocery tax.
A tax cut in Oklahoma could start making a difference for people in Oklahoma who have struggled to put groceries on the table. Back in February, Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt signing the 4.5% tax cut bill on groceries into law that will completely cut taxes off of groceries. That bill now in effect. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average family spent $5,702 on groceries in 2022. Governor Stitt says this bill could save families $60 a month on groceries that would total up to $720 in savings per year. There are exclusions that Oklahomans need to be aware of. For instance, this tax cut does not apply to clothes shopping, alcohol, or pre-made foods such as what you may find at a restaurant or your favorite fast food joint. Despite the exclusions, Oklahomans may start to see more bang for their buck and their fridges filling up.
Well, the bill will also prohibit the raising of grocery tax rates by local governments until July of 2025. The Miami Senior Center officially turned itself over to the city of Miami last night. They made the move due to a lack of funding. The city considered taking legal action to ensure the senior center was transferred in accordance with their bylaws, but decided against doing so. The city discussed taking on various finances like fixing the roof and other things at their discretion.
For the city, we're just going to have to juggle a few things to get the budget squared away for the rest of the year to get it through, and then we'll budget it in just like any other facility going forward.
The city will allow Docs, the food delivering service, to remain at the senior center and continue serving senior citizens. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes coming up on the KOAM Morning News. The United States Postal Service outlines plans for election mail security ahead of the general election. Plus, Vice President Kamala Harris and her running mate Tim Walz sit for their first joint interview. And Chris Warner returns with another look at your Friday forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back, but first, here's a live look from the stadium of Pitt State ahead of their home opener against Ferris State. Topping Nation Watch this morning. Some welcome news for home buyers. Mortgage rates have dropped to a new 15-month low. The standard 30-year fixed rate mortgage averaged 6.35% according to Freddie Mac. It hasn't been this low since May of 2023. Mortgage rates fell earlier this month and have been trending lower because of an expected interest rate cut from the Federal Reserve that is expected to come at the Fed's next policy meeting in mid-September. Well, Boeing's Starliner capsule is set to return to Earth next week, but without its two-person crew. The spacecraft is set to undock from the International Space Station on the evening of September 6th. It will land around midnight in New Mexico's White Sands Space Harbor. Now, the spacecraft blasted off on June 5th and carried astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams to the ISS. The mission was expected to last only 8 days, but Starliner's return was delayed indefinitely as a result of issues plaguing the spacecraft. NASA announced over the weekend Williams and Wilmore will fly home aboard a SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule no earlier than February. The United States Postal Service is outlining security plans ahead of the 2024 general election. The agency announced plans to improve the safe delivery of mail-in ballots close to or on Election Day. Those efforts include additional pickups, extra deliveries, and special mail sort plans to expedite ballot delivery. The USPS said those efforts will begin starting in late October. Lastly, the U.S. Postal Inspection Service plans to implement rigorous security protocols and monitoring for potential threats. Now we turn to a campaign first. Vice President Kamala Harris and running mate Tim Walz sitting for their first joint interview since sewing up the 2024 Democratic nomination yesterday. Meanwhile, former President Donald Trump campaigned in 2 Midwest battleground states, focusing this time on women's reproductive care. Jared Hill has the latest from New York.
From the campaign trail in Georgia to the hot seat,
my values have not changed.
Vice President Kamala Harris and Governor Tim Walz, in their first in-depth interview since officially clinching the Democratic nomination, spoke to CNN about her top priorities.
Day one, it's going to be about, one, implementing my plan for what I call an opportunity economy.
And clarified why she's changed her position on some policies she backed during her first run in 2019, like supporting a ban on fracking.
We can increase a thriving clean energy economy without banning fracking.
And decriminalizing the southern border.
I believe there should be consequence. We have laws that have to be followed and enforced.
Meanwhile, Walz took on scrutiny over his military service.
My record has been out there for over 40 years to speak for itself.
Former President Donald Trump called the interview boring on social media after he unveiled a new campaign promise while stumping in Wisconsin and Michigan.
Your government will pay for, or your insurance company will be mandated to pay for, all costs associated with IVF treatment.
Trump making news of his own with NBC, criticizing Florida's 6-week abortion ban, appearing to support a November ballot measure to expand access.
I think the 6 week is too short. It has to be more time.
His campaign later clarifying he hasn't yet said how he'll vote. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Now, Trump is on the trail in Pennsylvania today while Harris is back in Washington. Vice President Harris will campaign with President Joe Biden this Labor Day in Pittsburgh. It's their first joint campaign event since Biden dropped out and endorsed Harris as the party's nominee. And that's a look at some of today's top national stories. Here's Chris with a look at your forecast.
We got some very isolated showers out there right now on the Skywatch Storm Tracker. Most of us are dry, but as this cold front rolls in, we're expecting some additional shower and thunderstorm development through the morning and into the afternoon. We'll have another look at your forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Well, firefighters helped put out a fire caused by lightning at a sea turtle zoo in New Jersey. That fire severely stressed some of the turtles there. As Anthony Johnson reports, they're now recovering.
Pickles is bouncing back, bobbing in a special tank after stress caused his heart rate to fall far below normal levels for a sea turtle. That stress was due to a lightning strike, sparking a smoky fire at the Sea Turtle Recovery Hospital, where Pickles and 4 other terrapins live at the Turtleback Zoo.
Pickles was in the ICU unit here at STR's Animal Hospital, but he also is recovering quite well right now.
Luckily, zoo employees working late spotted the fire and called for help. The sea turtles inside the building are rescues, recovering from cold shock and breathing issues. West Orange Fire and others responded quickly. The Sea Turtle Recovery Building is leased by a nonprofit organization helping sick and injured sea turtles.
There was a lot of smoke in the building. Once we were allowed in, we started ventilating the building and began getting the turtles out.
Pickles inhaled too much smoke and his respiration levels dropped.
All the other sea turtles, again, heart rate should be about 30 beats a minute. You get to Pickles, and Pickles had dropped to 9 beats per minute.
There were some anxious moments.
Once we got her in the tank, she started swimming and finally started acting normal.
Brandy and Bill worked around the clock to save Pickles and his terrapin friends.
We checked her heart rate and it had gone up. That's the first time I think we breathe. Just hold your breath until you know they're okay.
But today, Pickles is moving around just fine at the organization's Long Island facility. Sea Turtle Recovery is seeking donations to help pay for the care of Pickles and his friends on their website. It may take weeks to know if Pickles is finally out of the woods.
Now, STR isn't sure yet if the fire damaged its tanks or filtration equipment. Let's go over to Chris for a look at the forecast.
Yeah, we'll have an opportunity for a few isolated showers and storms today and then more scattered storms later today. Another full look at your forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It is now 6:21 on this finally Friday in the 4 states. We're starting with a live look from our camera in downtown Pittsburgh. And if you look just above the Skywatch banner, you can see some of those little thunderheads out there. We don't have any storms, but we do. Same view looking back northwest. We had a shower kind of flared up over Joplin on the northwest side, sinking southeast. But as you can see, it's not bringing really all that much in the way of rainfall. But if we look down here at 20th and Rangeline, the MoDOT camera here, number 1, it's a little darker. Number 2, definitely some light shower activity. However, we head back to Kansas. Dry roads here on the KDOT camera, 69 in Kansas crossing just south of Pittsburgh. So here's a look at Skywatch storm trackers. So we have our front off to our northwest, really not bringing much more into our area at this time. We have some heavier rain just to the northwest of Burlington. This is all moving northeast, but the front itself will gradually push it off to the east-southeast. Here's that shower activity around Joplin, Carthage, and Jasper. Not much to crow about by any means, but at least there's some rain out there this morning. And then we've got some showers that stretch back through the western side of Delaware County, and they're gradually lifting north. So if they continue to hold, Miami, you may get in on some rain before too much longer out there. Outflow boundaries from the storms out to our west is what's triggered some of this shower activity. It did try and flare up some thunderstorms in southeast Kansas, but they just really didn't get their act together. So isolated to widely scattered storms will be the case for us through the majority of the day until about 3 o'clock. And by about 3, we'll start to see more scattered storms. They'll still be scattered, so it won't be raining everywhere all at once, but we'll have at least a little more thunderstorm activity as we head into the afternoon, evening, and overnight hours. And overnight, some of the showers and storms could produce some fairly heavy rainfall at times, and we absolutely need that rain. We don't need any severe weather, and some good news there, we're not anticipating any at this point. Saturday, it's going to be another isolated to widely scattered shower and maybe thunderstorm kind of day. Thunderstorm chances better on the Missouri and Arkansas side of things, but at least, again, some rain out there. In Joplin right now, sitting at 76. Breeze is south at 5, and it's again a bit on the muggy side this morning. Mostly cloudy skies around the region. Temperatures, there's a myriad of them. All of us, though, into the 70s, low mid 70s out there. So still another above normal start to the day, but this is the last above normal start that we will have. We're looking at isolated storms again through the morning. A lot of us will be dry, but some of these storms will be possible out there. Low 80s by 11 o'clock, which will be quite nice. Highs today about 90, so still pretty toasty, but not nearly as hot as it has been the last several days. We'll go into the scattered storm mode this afternoon. As the front approaches and the storm chances increase, we'll actually end up hitting our high a little earlier than usual, and so we'll start cooling back gradually through the afternoon and evening when traditionally we'd be hitting our high about 4 or 5 o'clock. We'll be down to about 70 by 10. Some heavy rain again possible overnight tonight. Temperatures fall back just a little bit more into the upper 60s as we head into the overnight. Then we'll hang on to the 80s. Tomorrow's when they start. Low mid 80s. Storms, pop-up storm or two possible on Sunday. Otherwise, again, most of us dry. Labor Day looks good. Mid 80s, partly cloudy. We'll hang on to the 80s. And I love saying that, the 80s. There's no 90s out there. It looks pretty good over the next several days. And we have some additional scattered thunderstorm chances in the second half of next week. That is a check of your forecast. I'm going to send it over to Elise now with Health Watch.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Well, climate change may lead to a rise in foodborne illnesses. That's the findings of a study published by the American Society for Microbiology. They found that increased humidity is making it easier for the salmonella bacteria to thrive on plants. Now, salmonella already affects 1.2 million people in the U.S. annually. Well, heart experts say there's an important medical check that's often being neglected. New research from Poland shows measuring your lipoprotein levels can help prolong your life. Lipoprotein levels are determined by genetics, and they can show whether you're at risk for heart attack, stroke, or other cardiovascular diseases. Doctors say routinely checking those levels could help catch diseases early. Well, if you catch up on sleep on the weekends, it turns out you're helping lower your risk of heart disease. A study by the European Society of Cardiology found people who don't get enough sleep during the week but get more sleep on the weekends had a 19% lower chance of heart disease. Ideally, though, doctors say you should get at least 7 hours of sleep every night. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. We'll be right back. Right now at 6:30, the Granby, Missouri Police Department can expect some new equipment thanks to a fundraiser for heroes.
And we've got a few isolated showers out there now, a few more scattered showers and storms as we head through the day. Look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, how the community is helping to rebuild a wildlife park in Wyandotte, Oklahoma, following storm damage.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:29. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Chris Warner. It's Friday here in the 4 states, and we've got long holiday weekends. We mentioned some of you maybe have today off as well.
Right.
Some of you may not have any days off. That's just how the world works sometimes. But either way, hopefully it's off to a good start for you, and it's going to rain a little bit on you as well over the next couple of days. And we'll start with today. For those who are working, got school, whatever may be going on in the world, there's some things to know about to get you out the door. And that's what we're going to start with. First, a live look from our camera downtown Pittsburgh. Looking fairly good so far this morning. We'll head over to Joplin. Our camera at 7th and Rangeline. As you can see, we've got some clouds out there. We had a little shower flare up. Now here around 7th and Rangeline, and it's difficult to tell for sure, but it doesn't look like it really did much here. But the MoDOT camera, 20th and Rangeline, it's a little darker, and it looks like the roads are a little damper. It was just a very light shower, not much to it, and it's already kind of breaking apart, but a little rain activity out there. On the Kansas side, we're really kind of winding down, at least for now. The cold front off to our northwest, so northwest of Burlington, you've got some heavier showers out there. Now the activity, the rain itself is moving northeast, but the front will gradually push it east-southeast. Here's what's left of the shower activity around Joplin, Carthage. There were some showers around the Jasper area as well, most of that not even reaching the ground. And we've had some heavier showers flare up in Delaware County. These are lifting due north, and if they hold together, Miami, you'll be getting in on at least a little bit of rain. Now, as the front gets through, we'll eventually see more isolated to widely scattered showers and thunderstorms to the first portion of our Friday. But once we get to about 3 o'clock or so, we'll see more scattered storms. They're still scattered, so not rain everywhere all at once, but we'll hold on to those scattered storm chances through the afternoon, evening, overnight, and into early Saturday. And we could even get some heavy rain out of some of these storms at times, which would be good. But we're not expecting any severe weather. I want to emphasize that. No severe weather expected, but a strong storm or two may be possible, but not likely. 76 in Joplin, 73 in Pittsburgh this morning. Temperatures around the area, we've got a mixed bag, but all of us above normal for now. This is our last above normal start to the day, it looks like, for a while too. So we're all in the low to mid 70s across the region. Kids getting on the bus this morning. Again, a couple isolated showers or storms out there. Most of us will be dry. 72, south breeze around 5 to 10. Now once the front pushes through, winds will shift out of the northwest at 5 to 10. A few more scattered storms. Still a bit on the warm side. We're going to hit our high early though, and as the front rolls through, temperatures begin to fall off, which also means our northwestern counties. You get up Chanute, Fredonia, Yates Center, that zone. Front's going to come through a little earlier. You may only make the mid to upper 80s, while folks down to the south and east may get a little warmer before that front rolls through. So again, about 90 on average for us. Scattered storms through the day, and they'll continue into tonight. We'll talk more about your Labor Day weekend forecast and how long the relief from the heat will last here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, we'll see you soon, Chris. Well, the Granby, Missouri Police Department will soon have some new bulletproof vests. It's thanks to a $2,300 check from Hero Fund USA. It's an organization that raises money to help first responders buy life-saving equipment. Granby PD officials say the vest will allow their officers to better serve the community, knowing they are better protected themselves.
Oh, they're heaven sent. Like I said, it's a must to have ballistic vests in law enforcement this day and age. So they've been great to us.
Hero Fund USA is based out of Blue Springs, Missouri. Well, a medical clinic in Joplin has some advice for area students. Choices Medical Services says young people between the ages of 15 and 24 make up 50% of the nation's sexually transmitted infection cases. The director of nursing at the clinic says the numbers the clinic has seen actually trends higher.
What we have seen in our clinics, though, with syphilis is that for 2 years in a row now, we've seen a sharp increase of the syphilis cases that we have seen. And for the first time ever in our clinic's history in 2023, and we're on track for 2024, we're actually going to have higher numbers of syphilis positive cases than gonorrhea.
Choice Medical Services recommends people who are sexually active to get tested once a year. Well, an Oklahoma wildlife park is working to reopen just 2 weeks after receiving thousands of dollars in storm damage. And the park director says they're working to rebuild better than ever thanks to the community's help. KOAM Samantha Walker has more.
This is just a bit of what the Creation Safari Wildlife Park saw when strong winds and severe storms swept through Ottawa County in mid-August. The storms caused severe damage to the park, such as destroying bird enclosures.
The majority of them was like complete destruction. They were just gone, laying out in the fields, to the east. And so, remarkably, the animals were all okay. No animals got hurt, but we're very, very fortunate that we didn't have animals injured and more damage to the park.
Tim Sappington, the park's owner and director, estimates the park received roughly $50,000 in damage from the storms.
Within an hour, people started messaging us and asking, how can we give to this? What do you guys need?
People from all across the community are coming together to help the wildlife park reach their goal of rebuilding bigger and better.
We had a really remarkable thing happen in a few days to follow. IS Customs, a construction company, has offered to bring their guys and rebuild our bird enclosures. And Wyandotte Nation has funded all of the materials for the bird enclosures.
Thanks to this community support, they're now able to open up right before their busiest weekend of the year.
We've come to expect that we live in a great community, and people reach out to help. We try to reach out and help others, and others have reached out to help us. So we have an amazing community here.
Reporting in Wyandotte, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
The Creation Safari Wildlife Park will open today for the first time since the storms. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. If it's Friday, you know what that means. We've got Shannon Becker live in the studio to help us close out the week with his big 3 news stories. And we're tracking rain chances throughout the day. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back, but first, here's a live look from the stadium of Pitt State ahead of their home opener against Ferris State. Welcome back. We've got Shannon Becker in the studio with his big 3 news stories of the week. Good morning to you, Shannon.
Good morning, Elise. How are you?
Doing well. How about yourself?
Ready for Friday Night Lights,
Oh, yes.
All right, number 3 this week. Let's take a look at the big 3 stories. What's happening where you live. Had a pop-up storm kind of the other day, Wednesday. I don't know if you got the rain at your house.
Yes.
You're probably taking your afternoon nap about that time. It was 5:20 when the storm hit east of Dunnawig. It was a little town called Scotland. It totally ripped all the sheet metal off of that building there. You could see it scattered throughout this field at a trucking company. It's near I-44 and the exit 15 that takes you near the Terra Motel. We saw Liberty crews. They were there restoring power to the 50 residents in that immediate area there. Scotland's a little town. It's been around maybe 100 years or so,
right. Okay,
but it's not really,
Yeah, quite a bit of damage there.
Booming.
But,
Yeah, even knocked over some semi-trailer boxes
wow.
and stuff. Our number 2 story, KOAM News Now. Food truck on fire. Wow. Yeah, that happened at Carthage this last week. You could see as that propane tank exploded. 2 different propane tanks exploded. It was a faulty generator that was placed at perhaps a wrong location. It caught fire in the back of that pickup truck, and then it was kind of windy, and it spread throughout the food trailer. No one was injured. They do have a fundraiser that they're trying to raise some money for right now. A fatal crash on I-44, something you experienced, all of us did, as it was happening the other morning, a traffic jam. And a man died. They still have not released his name, but family have been notified. You just have to wait for sometimes some
Yes.
official information through autopsy, et cetera. But you could see how the truck was totally destroyed. It's
Right.
about 200 feet off the road there. That's the front axle of
I don't
the
think
truck.
I've ever seen
I know.
that sign
Yeah.
leaning like that
Oh,
before.
no, not at all. And in fact, they actually took the sign down.
Right.
It was later in the day. They opened up the traffic after about 7 hours
Mm.
of having the traffic delay. But this is when they took that sign down. They couldn't figure it out. So they just finally
Yeah.
yanked it down.
There you go.
And then watch this.
Sometimes
So
you have
it just drives off like super fast out of the distance. I was like, oh, where are they going with that thing?
efficient, gets it done, you know?
I did, yeah. Get her done. And then our bonus story of the week, we just found out the Spirit Halloween store is opening.
you go.
There were rumors it wasn't going to open this year, but then all of a sudden, whoop, here it is.
They tend to do that.
Yeah, exactly. My friend Sheila Brown and her granddaughters, they checked it out yesterday.
Oh, how
Then we
fun.
checked it out last night.
Yes.
The hours are on our website. You can check them out in our full article. You big Halloween fan?
You know, I'll always dress up.
Yeah,
I'll always
yeah.
take part in it. But, you know, Spirit Halloweens are always fun
Oh,
to go
yeah.
into and just see what they've got going on.
So I also compiled our own list of the
Okay.
top 20 this year Halloween costumes.
Ooh, and good ones.
Now my number 2, the
Yeah.
Olympic breakdance lady. That'll be a
Stop
good
it
one.
right
That'll
now.
be good, right? Won't it
Ooh,
be good?
Yeah, that'll be
that'll-
fantastic. Yeah. See people breakdancing on the street
Yeah,
there
that'll be
trick-or-treating.
great. You don't have to be good.
Yeah.
You know,
No, you don't.
Everybody's an Olympian. Everybody's an Olympian.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you, Shannon, so much for being with us. Big 3 news stories of the week. Stick around. We're back with more right after this.
All right, time for some Friday birthdays in the 4 states. We're going to start with Rocky Newton celebrating birthday number 3 over in Fort Scott. Happy birthday.
And a happy 4th birthday to Piper Hendren.
And we've got Ella Cowan celebrating birthday number 5 in Parsons with love coming from your family.
And a happy 7th birthday to Stetson Southerton. It says here, love mom and dad.
And in Hepler, we've got Whitley Harris celebrating birthday number 7. Happy birthday, Whitley.
And over in Iola, happy 13th birthday to Braylon Rutherford.
And a raccoon as
Yes.
well. An interesting photo. I like that one. All right, in Pittsburgh, we've got Connor Profit celebrating birthday number 17. Happy birthday, Connor.
And a happy 19th birthday to Gavin Hickson.
And in Columbus, Hayden and Peyton Allen are celebrating a birthday today. Number 20. It says the entire family loves you and is proud of you. Happy birthday.
And a happy 26th birthday to Ashlyn Griffberg. It says here, happy birthday from Gabe, Charlie, and Mom.
And Barrett Norfelice in Carl Junction celebrating birthday number 34. It says happy birthday from the family.
And happy 40th birthday to Meredith Clark over in Girard. It says here, love Dad, Mom, Joseph, Gannon, Easton, and Annie.
Well, and if Meredith's celebrating a birthday, so is Joseph Clark celebrating birthday number 42. Also in Girard with love from Meredith, which we just saw, as well as Gannon, Easton, Annie, Mom, Dawn, Pat, and Debbie.
And over in Columbus, happy birthday to Ashley Epler.
And also in Columbus, we've got Donna Holleran celebrating a birthday. It says happy birthday from a lot of former students. Happy birthday, Donna.
And the party continues in Columbus with Logan Sloniker. Happy birthday.
We're going to cross state lines over to Webb City and celebrate Tammy Snyder's birthday today. Happy birthday, Tammy.
And happy 29th anniversary to Cassandra and Larry Harris.
All right. We also have Larry and Sheila Harris celebrating their 49th wedding anniversary today. Great throwback picture there. Happy anniversary to you.
And a happy birthday to John Dales, our sports director here at KOAM.
Celebrating another year wiser. And of course, we wouldn't have sports if it wasn't for John Dales.
It wasn't for John.
We also have Crew Monty celebrating birthday number 4. Happy birthday, Crew.
And over in Greenbush, a happy 92nd birthday to Don Davey.
And Colby Monty celebrating another year wiser as well. Happy birthday, Colby.
And last but not least, a happy birthday to Kate Nichols Leonard.
All right, another, of course, wonderful list of
Yes.
birthdays and anniversaries. And if you would like to celebrate with us, and who wouldn't, Elise has some information for you.
Yes, go ahead and submit your birthdays and anniversaries to birthdays@koamnewsnow.com. When submitting, be sure to include photos and messages as well.
Certainly want to make sure you include those messages. We love reading those messages, and I have no doubt your loved ones love hearing those messages. Let's start with this. This is a mostly cloudy look from our camera downtown Pittsburgh. So it looks good. Otherwise, you're dry for now, at least. And that will begin to change as time goes on. And it is a bit on the cloudy side. Also getting some clouds here in Joplin. I did point this camera toward the sunrise. Unfortunately, there's not much to see out there right now this morning, but otherwise dry. Now, MoDOT camera, 20th and range line. It did look as though there was a little shower that formed near Joplin, kind of rolled through, and it does look as though maybe there was a little bit of rain activity down here at 20th Street, but not so much the further north you go on range line. KDOT camera, 69 Kansas Crossing, also looking good, dry, and you don't see much sunshine because we're mostly cloudy out there. We do have some pauses in the clouds in between the showers and storms. Right now in our area, there's really not much other than these showers into Ottawa and Delaware County. We'll start up here again, northwest of Burlington. We have this heavier rain just south of 35, and that's really about it right now. And then the only real rain in moving through our area at this point is into Delaware County. It's been paralleling 59 moving north, and then it'll parallel 59 on the other side. It's starting to fall apart, unfortunately, but Miami, if any of this holds, you might get a few stray showers this morning. Now, we had an outflow boundary go through the area. It tried to trigger storms in Kansas. They just didn't really have much energy to work with. It did set off a few showers, and again, the one by Joplin stretched up toward Jasper and southeast of Lamar, and it did trigger these showers into Delaware County, but the outflow boundary itself is moving out of our area, and that's why we're not really seeing much. The cold front's still off to our northwest, and we have these showers and storms out there, but if you take a look at the latest loop, especially watch this section by Wichita, it's all starting to fizzle apart for now, but that will begin to change as we head through the day. So even through the morning, we're still expecting new development ahead of what's out there now. So some isolated to widely scattered showers and storms through about 3 o'clock. And then once we reach 3, we're going to start to go to more scattered storms. So again, it's not rain everywhere all at once, but there will be more showers and storms as we head through the afternoon, evening, and overnight across the area. And depending on where you are and when you are, when that front passes through, some of you will be a little cooler than others, but it's going to be warm for most of us today. And some of the storms tonight could produce some heavy rain. We go into our Saturday, again, another round of very isolated to widely scattered showers and storms, and we'll have some slightly better chances in the evening hours, mainly into the Missouri and Arkansas side of things. And then an isolated pop-up shower or storm will be possible as we head into our Sunday, but for Sunday, the majority of us look to be dry. Sitting at 76 in Joplin right now. Keep in mind, our average low should be the upper 60s, so you can very clearly tell front hasn't been through yet. Plus, still have a south breeze at 5. Around the region, temperatures looking about like this. You can kind of see where that frontal boundary is. It's got a little swath of some cooler temperatures, but then they pick back up on the flip side of this thing. It's not going to be super hot today, not like we've seen, but it is going to be warm. Right now, we got a lot of low to mid 70s out there, so all of us, regardless, still above normal, but there comes that northerly breeze that's going to be back behind this front, and it'll also usher in a little bit of drier air for us as well. We get our day started, again, isolated storms initially. Most of us will be dry, but there will be that chance through the morning hours. And we're going to go low 80s instead of upper 80s by 11 o'clock this morning. So looking a little bit better out there for many of us. Now, for most of us, our highs today are going to top out at about 90 degrees, and then we'll hit those highs a little earlier than usual, and temperatures will slowly fall back behind the front. Now, because of that, if you are further northwest, so we're talking again Fredonia, Chanute, Yates Center, in that zone roughly, your highs today may only be mid to upper 80s because the front is already rolling through and it is going to curb how warm you get. But most of us about 90 degrees today. Winds will also again shift across the entire area, ultimately out of the northwest by the time we get through the afternoon. Scattered storms again through the evening, down to 70 by 10, upper 60s for our overnight lows out there. And we're going to hold on to 80 degree temperatures officially arriving on our Saturday. Details on that and the news you need to know in just a moment. And when we switch over to Fox 14 at 7 a.m., a man in North Dakota is writing a book to help children who are battling health conditions.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. The Kansas Bureau of Investigation is investigating an officer-involved shooting Thursday afternoon. Coffeyville police were attempting to serve a search warrant on 33-year-old Derek J. Trotter of Coffeyville. Trotter began to resist and fought officers as they tried to detain him. Trotter was tased by officers before being shot 3 times. He was pronounced dead at the hospital. No law enforcement officers were injured in the shooting. The KBI will investigate this officer-involved shooting and submit their findings, and they will be presented to the Montgomery County Attorney for review. The city of Miami has officially taken over the Miami Senior Center. The center says the move was necessary due to funding. The city discussed taking on various finances like fixing the roof and other things at their discretion. The city will allow Docs, the food delivery service, to remain at the senior center and continue serving senior citizens. Well, people in Oklahoma will start saving on their grocery bills. Oklahoma has eliminated the 4.5% sales tax on groceries. The bill was signed into law by Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt back in February. Stitt says the tax cut could save the average Oklahoma family about $720 yearly. However, there are exclusions to the tax cut, including alcohol and prepared food. Let's check up today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
And as you head out the door, we're dry for most of us right now, but some isolated to widely scattered storms possible through the morning into the early afternoon. By late afternoon, evening, and overnight, those storms become more scattered, hitting early highs for most of us, about 90 degrees, and temperatures slowly fall on the backside of this front, down to about 70 by 10. Overnight lows, upper 60s. Could get some heavy rain tonight out of some of these storms. 80s arrive tomorrow, low to mid 80s Saturday. A few scattered storms, maybe a pop-up shower or storm on Sunday. Labor Day looks great, mid-80s, partly cloudy. We'll hang on to even some low 80s as we head into the next work week, and some additional scattered storm chances.
It's going to be nice.
It's going to be a lot better than where it has been.
Certainly. Well, coming up today at noon, we're making sweet pickle slaw at the Mr. Fu Test Kitchen.
And your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings. This is the first full weekend of college football. Coming up on CBS Mornings, CBS Sports college football analyst, Aaron Taylor, is live in the studio with which teams he thinks will be fighting for the national title and some of the marquee matchups this season.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. This morning, tobacco buyers under 30 should expect to show their ID under a new FDA rule.
And our very own Shannon Becker back in the studio with his big 3 stories of the week. However, it's going to wrap it up for us for now. We'll see you back here Monday morning at 5 a.m.
And we'll see you today at noon.